What up world, my name is Matt and I make videos on how to think better, do better, and be better. And in this video, we're gonna get a little personal. I'm getting into why I've taken on this side project. So let's jump in. I wanna start with a little story. When I was a child, I experienced nightmares on a regular basis. There wasn't one night when I didn't have a bad dream. I would have these really strange reoccurring nightmares of spiders crawling all over me, or there was this really weird one where a vacuum would suck up my voice box. Ghosts, spirits, lots of different weird, scary things, especially when you're a kid. And I think one of the hardest parts about the dreams is that I would die every time. And I would end up in this afterlife kind of world, whatever that would look like, and there would be this Joker-like figure who just told me I had died. It was scary and really hard to make sense of as a kid. So it should come as no surprise, I hated going to bed. I put up with this reality for a while, but around the age of 6, I just thought this was garbage. I knew it was my mind that was producing these dreams, so why couldn't I stop it? And I started to think about that. Before I went to bed, I would lay there and I would just watch my mind and where it took me. And I observed it for a long time. And every time, even when I was awake, it would start taking me to these dark places. And I would think again about the dreams I'd had previously. So I decided to try something. I decided to hijack my mind with happier thoughts. And this was challenging. It was like I was having my first battles for my mind. This would work for a while. I would spend some time thinking about it, and it would distract me. But then, lo and behold, without fail, my mind would draw me back to those dark places. I came up with this idea. If the positive thoughts weren't keeping the negative thoughts away, why don't I just try and keep all thoughts away and just empty my mind? The only way I could think to do this as a kid was to visualize what I call the salt and pepper screen. And where I got the idea for the salt and pepper screen and what I was trying to do in my mind came from a TV signal that was missing. So I don't know if you remember the days of aerial TVs where you'd have that sound, and it worked. I found it a lot more powerful to actually completely empty my mind than try and redirect it to something positive. Eventually, I just stopped dreaming, or at least remembering them when I woke up, and I had won that first battle. I stopped having those nightmares. The battle for the mind never ends while you're living. It's that voice inside your head that never shuts up. And to me, the mind is a first principle. It's ground zero for everything else, especially when it comes to solving the problems around your thinking. A lot of people, I think, are afraid to confront their mind or treat the mind as something that can be changed. And perhaps they're afraid of damaging their mind, or they'd just rather flow down the river of thoughts that the mind conjures up. But the way I choose to look at it is summarized best by Tim Urban. Your entire life runs off the software in your head. Why wouldn't you obsess over optimizing it? The thing is that the mind is complex. And to me, thinking feels like a blend between the physical world and something beyond ourselves. But there is no escaping the fact that your mind and your thinking is influenced by your body and the environment you're in. So for example, a traumatic brain injury unfortunately forever changes someone's life and their ability to think. And that is because the brain is that vessel for those thoughts. And I have to say, it's such a complex organ with so much yet to be known that I feel like I know less than 0% of it. And although that's the case, I do believe one thing. I believe that we have the ability to change our thoughts. And with that in mind, I came up with my current mission, which is helping me and other people think better, do better, and be better. And I'm still figuring it out. The reason I start with thinking is because I believe it leads into everything else. Your thinking influences your action, doing, which ultimately influences you, who you are, being. And thinking is your being's foundation. So what does think better, do better, be better even mean? I have an initial idea, but I'm sure it's gonna evolve and change as I evolve and change. And also, it's important to keep in mind that what it means to me will mean something completely different to you because you're unique. What does the better part of that mean? To me, better means a change result that you're happy and satisfied with. And I think better makes for a more peaceful mind. We say we want peace of mind, but what we really want is peace from mind. That's a nice quote from Naval. So let's break this down here. Let's start with think better. When I was around the age of 16, I came up with this idea of perspective is everything. And not that that is some original idea, because it's not. It's been around forever. But I think what was powerful about it to me is that I felt like I came up with it myself. It came from within myself. And then it occurred to me that if I could change my perspective, I could change me. And so I started to try this. Perspective is the lens by which we see the world. We believe our own to be the most true. It's our truth. We collectively see this every day through the actions of others and the thinking that results almost automatically. But I think one of the cool things about perspective is it's kind of like a mirror. By becoming aware of your own perspectives, you become aware of yourself. So start to challenge those automatic responses and work to see things for what they are. So through all these stories and growing up and just thinking, I became fascinated with the mind and the brain and thoughts because of all the challenges that I felt like I had overcome. And that's never stopped. I've never stopped thinking about how I could improve my thoughts or trying to understand them differently or better. Thinking better to me means I'm aware of my thoughts in an objective manner. And it also means that you are open-minded. It comes with this understanding that you can change your thoughts. And they should change. Because the reality of our world is changing fast. And we need to keep up with it. Our thoughts are where all of our future progress comes from. And so I do believe that they should be changing. They need to be building on top of each other. A lot of the time our thoughts get in our own way. For example, thinking things like, this is how I've done it. This is how I've always done it. This is who I am. Or well, it's always been done this way, so you have to do it this way too. And all I have to say is no, this kind of thinking should stop. I call it legacy thinking because I don't know another word for it. But when we know a better way, we take the better way. And getting stuck on these legacy thinking thought patterns just doesn't serve us. There's many examples of this. Next up after think better is do better. Our thoughts can ultimately become our actions, and we are what we repeatedly do. Sometimes our actions feel like conscious choices, and other times we don't even know how we did them. Someone may have asked you before, what on earth are you thinking? And you just think to yourself, I don't even know. Thinking better provides the path for doing better, because after all, we step into the consequences of our actions. There's one thing I wanted to address in the section of doing better, which is I think there's this opinion that if you could do better, then there was something wrong or broken with you before and you weren't good enough. And I don't think that's true, and I don't even think you really need to strive to be better. It's up to you. And there are also people that think that they have reached their peak and they couldn't do any better than they already are. And so they're gonna be stuck there. But I really do think that the do better piece is a moving target. It's always one step ahead of you. And I don't really think there's a definite final step when it comes to being better. And I think that this is very discouraging to a lot of people, so why even bother taking that first step? And that's a personal question, it's up to you. But I really like the idea of knowing that I'll never reach that peak. You know, there's always gonna be one more step. And it's kind of freeing because I don't have the obligation of perfection. I'll never get there. I would take that over the false comfort and stability of thinking that you do have it all right. So how does one do better? Well, I don't think that there's anything prescriptive that I could give you. The journey to doing better is different for everybody. What I will say is that don't underestimate the impact of small actions every day. They will add up over time. Just like you build a house brick by brick, you're building yourself brick by brick. The more deliberate action you can put into each brick, the stronger your foundation's gonna be. And if you need any reminder of what 1% compounded every day for a year looks like, it looks like this. So keep that in mind. Take that small step every day and you're gonna be on your way. And to me, doing better really comes down to one thing, and it couldn't be said better than this. Do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. Maya Angelou. So last but not least, I've got to be better. And what does that even mean? And to be honest, I don't exactly know. I'm still figuring it out. I think where it comes from is this poster that was in my grade 7 classroom that I've never forgotten. The poster looked like this. What being better is the summation of everything else. It's your thoughts and your words and your actions and your habits and your character, which ultimately becomes you. I think the thing with being better is just to focus on the upper levels, really, and you'll be what you'll be. So how can you do better? That's for you to decide. I use the word building in the title because this doesn't happen overnight, and it never ends. And it's built neuron by neuron with the consistent commitment to be better. I hope what you take away from this video isn't prescriptive advice, because there's no one way. But what I hope you do take away from this video is that your thoughts are worth examining, understanding, and challenging, and believing that you can change them. If you'd like to read more about my thoughts on why I'm doing what I'm doing, I've put an article down below there. And if you've made it this far in the video, please subscribe. I'm looking for new ones. As always, I appreciate you.